If you want your Facebook ads to succeed, you have to choose the right Facebook ad objective. And it's essential that you choose the right objective for your specific business and the strategy you are using. In this video, I'm going to explain the options and which one you should use. So to demonstrate this, I'm in an example Facebook ad account. I'm in Ads Manager. I'm going to go ahead and click on this green plus create button. And then you can see that one of the very first things that we're being asked to decide when it comes to creating a new Facebook ad campaign is the campaign objective. And the campaign objective is incredibly important because it determines how Meta is going to optimize your campaigns. And that has an enormous impact on your results. And you'll see that as we go through this process. So you select your campaign objective, that changes a load of the defaults and preset settings as you go through the rest of the campaign creation process. So if you get this wrong, your campaigns are highly unlikely to succeed. If you get this right, you've got a much, much greater chance of getting the results that you really want. Okay, so I'm going to start with traffic as the campaign objective. I know it's not the top one on the list, but I want to start with it because it's where a lot of new advertisers in particular start, because it's one of the quickest and easiest ones to use. You want to send people through to your website, go ahead and use traffic, pop the link in, you think, I'll send as many people to my website as possible, they'll then go on to purchase, they'll then go on to become a lead, whatever it is, the action that you want them to take. And you can see here that when I hover over it, Meta's information about traffic is that it's good for link clicks, landing page views is basically just a link click, but someone actually made it to the point where your landing page loaded, Instagram profile visits, etc. There's some other options for generating communication. Now, even though that's where a lot of people start, and they start because it's easy, right? You don't need to have the pixel installed to be able to track the actions that people take on your website, like whether they purchase, become a lead, and things like that. You can just get the ad set up, pop the link in, boom, send people there, done, up and running. It's not what I'd recommend most advertisers use in most circumstances. So I'll give you some scenarios where we would use traffic, and you can see that these don't come up that often. The majority of the time, you're going to be using other campaign objectives. So use traffic if you want to send people to, say, a blog post. And all you really want is for people to consume the content on that blog post. You don't want to then take a subsequent action like purchase, become a lead. You just think, if I could just get people to read this content, that will confer some sort of benefit to me later down the line. Okay, that's one scenario in which we use traffic. The other one might be if we're sending people through to our Instagram profile, either because we want more followers, or you might be using something called the Instagram profile method, which is where you sort of convert your Instagram profile into a bit of a sales page, a landing page. People can see your pinned posts, they can see your story highlights, consume those, and that makes it more likely people will convert. That's something that we've done before. I actually include a link in the video description to another video on the Instagram profile method in case you want to check out that strategy and how it works. Those are other scenarios in which we'd use traffic. And then the other one, and probably actually the most common, would be if we're sending people through to a third-party website that we don't have any control over, is in we can't install the meta pixel, we can't track the actions that people take. You might as well use traffic because you can't use a lot of the other options because you don't know what people do once they go through to the whatever it happens to be, all sorts of different third-party sites depending on what sort of business you have and where you might be selling products or selling tickets or trying to get people to consume music or other content and things along those lines, right? So those are really the only scenarios in which we use traffic, and you can see that doesn't come up all that often. When we're sending people through to a website to get sales, or sending people through to a website to get leads, or just try to generate leads on platform, we're not going to be using traffic hardly ever, okay? Right, next campaign objective I want to talk about is engagement, okay? We'll come back to awareness in a second. Now we can see that again, Meta gives us some information around engagement and what it's good for. So they've got Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp, similar to traffic, so basically being able to send people to those places to start a conversation. Video views is one of the engagement metrics that the campaign can optimize for. And then there's going to be engagement like likes, shares, comments, and things along those lines. This is another common one that people often start with when they get into Facebook advertising. They think, yeah, I want lots of people to engage with my ad. I want them to see the video. I want them to click on it, like it, share it. That's gonna then lead to sales, leads, all the things my business actually want. Often it actually doesn't. If you go with engagement, Meta's really good at getting people, putting your ad in front of people who are likely to engage, not necessarily take that next step. It's a similar story to traffic, okay? So when would we use engagement? Again, there are some scenarios, but these don't come up all that often. We are usually not using the engagement objective. So if you're building a Facebook following, you can use your Facebook page as a destination to get followers, similar to traffic with the Instagram profile setup. If you're building a Facebook group, again, you can do the same thing. Not available in all ad accounts, but some you can send people directly through to a Facebook group. And that's just about it. There are some very fringe cases where you might be running like a competition style ad to try and get people to really engage. Like that's really what you want. You don't want to do anything else. There's a big competition and you're just trying to create lots of noise and activity on that business's social accounts, and engagement might be used in that scenario. But most of the time we're running ad campaigns, and most of my recommendation is like be more direct, go for what it is that you really want. And engagement, whilst it sounds good, and whilst it's something that a lot of people who don't know that much about social media think is the objective, it's often not going to be the right way to go for most Facebook and Instagram advertisers. Now, before we move on to the next campaign objective, I wanted to let you know that HubSpot, who I'm partnering with on this video, have created a fantastic free resource that contains 50 examples of high-performing Facebook ads that you can model from. There is a link in the video description below where you can download these Facebook ad examples. They've included ads from Nike, Hulu, Venmo, and so much more. My favorite part is that it's sorted by industry to make it really easy to find exactly what you're looking for. Using this free resource to find high-performing Facebook ads to model from is one of the absolute best ways to create Facebook ads that can deliver outstanding results. You don't need to try and reinvent the wheel, especially when you're first learning. I'd strongly recommend you check it out and use it to level up your Facebook ad creative. Check it out using the link in the description below, and thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring today's video. Now it's time to talk about the awareness campaign objective. So if I hover over this one, we'll have a look at what Meta mentions. So they say awareness is good for reach, brand awareness, also video views, and then you've got store locations as well, okay? So awareness sounds like it would naturally be the first step in any sort of Facebook advertising strategy. Like, okay, first you advertise to get awareness, and then you advertise to get something like sales later down the line once you've built a lot of awareness. And I understand the logic, but it just doesn't really apply in practice. Awareness is typically better for larger businesses that have really big budgets, that aren't looking to generate direct leads or direct sales. They're not looking for anything close to a short-term return on their ad spend. Big brands running big campaigns who just want to make sure that their thing is top of mind when you think of a certain category. So when you think of a car, a big car company might be doing brand awareness campaigns so that their brand is top of mind when you think of a car. Where if you're thinking of a soft drink, it's Coca-Cola immediately comes into mind because they do tons of brand awareness-based advertising to help promote the brand. That's typically what awareness is good for. So I recommend that most small businesses stay away from brand awareness. If you want anything close to a short-term, medium-term return on your ad spend, you want to generate direct sales, you want to generate direct leads, you'd be better off with different options as opposed to going with awareness. Now, with that said, we will use the awareness campaign objective if we are using my omnipresent content strategy. And that can work really well for businesses that sell higher ticket products and services. So if you fall in that category, definitely go ahead and check out my omnipresent content strategy. I'll include a link in the description below where you can go through and give that a watch and run through that, because I think that might be really valuable for you as a business. So we do use it in those circumstances because it has a specific feature around frequency capping. Otherwise, we're typically not going to use awareness unless, like I said, we're advertising for a really, really big business that really they do want brand awareness in that scenario. I'll quickly touch on app promotion. Fairly self-explanatory with app promotion. If you've got an app, use it. If you don't. You can use this objective to get app installs. You can also use it, and not everyone is aware of this, to help drive app events, so things like in-app purchases. So you could advertise to existing app users to try and get them over the line to become like a premium member or whatever it is of your app. So that's a potential good option. Now that leaves the two campaign objectives here where we've got leads and sales. And I want to talk about these two together. Now, these are the options that we are going to use more than any others by far. Because if you want sales, or you want leads, you want to go with sales, or you want to go with leads. Now, out of those two, you might be thinking, okay, well, as part of my sales funnel, I generate a lead and then I generate a sale. Like, which one should I go for? My recommendation is to track the action that is furthest along your sales funnel that you can accurately track. So if you can accurately track sales, go with sales. If not, go with leads. And you have to factor in attribution windows into this. So let's say, for example, we're advertising our services as a Facebook ads agency. We are far more likely to go with leads because we generate a lead, someone say books a call with us. It's often going to be a reasonable amount of time between that person becoming a lead and then actually that turning into a client, that turning into a sale. There could be a few weeks in there. Sometimes it happens almost immediately, but often it's going to be a while. They've got to wait for that call, then they've got to have the call, then they've probably got to, do you know what I mean? There's steps involved and there's some time there. So with Meta's attribution window being a maximum of 7 days after the click, like, is someone going to go from clicking on the ad, booking the call, having the call, agreeing whatever work it is we're going to do for them, paying the, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a long time period. So we're going to be outside the attribution window. Also, there's difficulties in marrying up the click with the eventual conversion because there's sort of offline intermediary steps. There's a call with one of our sales team who's going to explain the processes. They might be sending out via email then like a proposal and, you know, examples of previous work and all this sort of stuff involved in that process, right? So it's difficult to track. So we're going to optimize for leads. But there are many scenarios, if you're like an e-commerce business, for example, you absolutely go with sales. You can track the sales. Even some service-based businesses where people come through to your website and perhaps it's a really quick, easy, all done online in one go process, generate the lead and then the sale. You can go with sale as well. But if you can't do that, leads is absolutely fine. And with leads, if I hover over it, you can generate leads via your website. You can also generate leads within Facebook and Instagram. So you can see that leads have got here instant forms. So that's where someone clicks on an ad and they're presented with that ad within Facebook, within Instagram. They can come and fill out their information there without having to come through to your website. Often you get cheaper leads by using instant forms. So just something to be aware of, that with the leads objective, you're not necessarily sending people off platform. You can choose. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about was performance goal. So you can undo a lot of the good work that you did selecting the right campaign objective by selecting the wrong performance goal. Now, if you go with the default performance goal, most of the time you're going to be absolutely fine. And I've just gone ahead and actually created the leads campaign. I've jumped to the ad set level. And you can see here we've got performance goal, and the default here is maximize number of conversions. Absolutely fine, that's what I want you to go with. You may be able to go with maximize value of conversions depending on how you've got your tracking set up. So let's say you're generating different types of leads, some leads are worth more than others, and you've got that information being fed back into your Meta ad account using the pixel, then great, you can select that option and Meta will not only get you as many leads as possible, they will get you the ones that are worth more to your business. You can do the exact same thing with the sales campaign objective as well. You can maximize number of conversions or maximize value of conversions as long as you've got everything set up to track that. This is just an example ad account, so we don't have that set up here, but I just wanted to let you know that is an option. However, there are other goals that you could go ahead and select. So you could, instead of going with leads goal, for example, and getting as many maximized number of conversions, you could go with one of these other goals and maximize number of landing page views, maximize number of link clicks. Well, those are going to operate just like traffic campaigns. Yes, you've selected the lead campaign objective, but if you go and undo that good work by selecting one of these performance goals, it's going to perform just like a traffic goal that's optimizing for either landing page views or link clicks. Maximize daily unique reach is going to operate, or maximize number of impressions. That's going to operate like awareness campaigns that are set up to maximize daily unique reach or maximize number of impressions. So very, very rarely will we use, I don't want to quite say never, because I'm sure there'll be some circumstance in which we might use one of these as opposed to going with maximize number of conversions or maximize value of conversions for a lead campaign or a sales campaign, but it is extremely rare. So please don't go in and undo your good work in selecting the right campaign objective by messing up the performance goal. Like I said, most of the time when you go with the default, once you've selected the right campaign objective, you're going to be absolutely fine. Okay, a few other things I want to mention about campaign objectives. So you can't change the campaign objective of an existing campaign. So if you're like, I'm not using the right one, I want to change it. No, you'll have to recreate the campaign with a different campaign objective. So it can be a bit annoying, but given it governs how the campaign's optimized, it kind of makes sense. One thing I really want to emphasize here, and really want to get this message across, is please don't try and be extra clever and game the system and think, okay, Meta's not going to give me what I really want if I go for sales. I'm going to go for traffic and then get the link clicks and then they're going to convert, or such and such, such and such. Like, it's a very old school way of thinking. Even years ago, I was very skeptical of that approach, but far more advertisers did it. absolutely now, when Meta's platform is so much better at optimizing your ad campaigns, at getting you the results you want, like, please don't go ahead and do that. You are almost certainly not going to get better results by doing that. And remember, Meta is highly incentivized to get us the results that we want, because they know that if an advertiser runs ad campaigns and they get leads and they get sales, they're gonna keep spending money, which is how Meta generates the vast majority of its revenue. They might scale their campaigns, they might spend more. Basically, us getting leads, us getting sales is Meta as a business giving us as the customers, we're the customers, the advertisers, not the users, we're the customers. It's giving us what we want, which means we spend more with them, which means Meta makes more money. So they are highly incentivized to go ahead and do this. And I also wanted to quickly show you this, which is a poll that I did on my YouTube channel, asking people which Facebook ad campaign objective typically performs best for you, right? And you can see that my audience is very well trained, with what's that, 80, almost 85% of the time, people seeing that sales and leads produces the best results for their business, with a smattering of others. Like I said, there are use cases for all the other ones depending on what people want to use, but the majority of the time it is sales and leads. Okay, so you now know, when it comes to Facebook ad campaign objectives, which one you should be using and when, what's going to produce the best results for your business. But to get the best results from your Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns, there are obviously a lot of other things that you need to get right as well. And with that in mind, I'd strongly recommend you check out this video. In that video, I walk you through the entire Facebook ad campaign creation process from scratch. I go through how to set up the campaign, the ad set, the ads, everything you need to get the best possible results and to get all the settings right that you need to get right. I know it could be very, very confusing. So now you know with the campaign objectives, time to move on to the rest of the stuff, and you'll find all that info right here.